Please start.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah. Please proceed.
Shall I start?
Yes, please proceed.
Good afternoon, everyone present here. And firstly, I would like to thank the committee for giving me an opportunity to talk here. And today I'm going to talk on how to set up profitable dairy unit with the 10 cows. So myself is Anushree, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Dairy Microbiology at Dairy Science College, Bangalore. So before going to the main content, we should know about what is dairy farming is. So the dairy farming, it is mainly comes under the agricultural sector and mainly involves raising of cattle for the milk production. So the theme of the dairy farming is it can run the family by their own business, and it creates lot of employment. That means it remove unemployment in the people who are living in the village areas. So though we consider the dairy farming is a profitable unit, but it requires a major hard work and then proper planning to set up a dairy unit, and also managing, controlling and then supervising. So from the each thing, from the milk production to the milk processing, we have to take care the quality of milk to, for future perspectives. So according to this, the need of starting the dairy units, the main unit of starting the dairy unit is milk, because the milk is we generally considered as a complete food or complex food because of their composition. Normally the milk consists of various nutrients like proteins, vitamins, minerals, fat, and some of the major vitamins like vitamin B12 and then vitamin B5. So this will provide the nourishment in the human bodies from the childhood to the elderhood. So according to this, the scope of dairy farming is, the first scope is this dairy farming, the total about of 25.6% is contributing to the total agriculture sector as a GDP. And the second scope of dairy farming is it provides that means it's improving the rural welfare and reducing the poverty in case of villages. And the next scope is it provides subsidiary income for the rural farmers and also agricultural laborers, and then followed by the manure which is obtained from the cows, means the dung, which acts as a source of organic matter. So it also a biological fertilizer which improves the soil fertility and the crop fields. And later that the biogas from the dung we can generally use it as fuel for the domestic purposes. And then the last scope of dairy farming is the surplus fodder or the byproducts from the agriculture, we can give it as feed or fodder to the animals. So this is about the scope of dairy farming. So after this, the major requisites or the major requirements to set up a dairy unit, the dairy farmers require some of the requirements. That is, so we generally tell the dairy farming is a profitable. So beside that, the person who are involving in the dairy farming should have a genuine love towards the cows and buffaloes. Since it requires a longer work or hard work, they should involve in the means they should involve for the longer period with a genuine love for a cow and buffaloes. So the second requisite or the second requirement of a dairy farmer is the person should have a good knowledge about the dairy farmers as well as the management of dairy business. So the scientific management of dairy animals and the management of dairy business mainly includes the selection of cows or the selection of land, breeding, feeding, management, housing, and the healthcare requirements. And you should know about the different breeds of cows, whether it is an exotic breed or indigenous breed. And you should respect the traditional methods of cattle rearing. Since we are moving to the modernization, the farmers also should know the traditional method of cattle rearing. And the next one is you should know or you should understand the basic and applied aspects of animal management, and also you should know the knowledge of maintenance of farm machinery and equipments. So the next requisite or the next requirement of dairy farmers means he should be educated by attending several training programs conducted by several agricultural universities and also Krishi Vignan Kendras and also some of the central institutes to improve their knowledge towards the dairy farming. So these are the major requisites or the major requirements for a dairy farmer to set up a dairy units. So coming to the main content, so to set up a dairy farm, what and all we need to know. So in our mind, the first objective comes into our mind is location. So in the location, we can generally categorize into two types. One is the ideal location for the setting up of dairy farm, and another one is the land required to set up the dairy farm. The first one is the ideal location for setting up of dairy farm. It mainly for setting up of an for setting up of an dairy farm, we generally go for the villages, the lands which are present in the villages, because the economic value for production of fodder and there will be a less rent in case of villages compared to urban areas. So, and in case of rural areas, the cost of fodders and the labors is very less comparative to the cost of the labors and the fodders which are in urban places. So the location, the lands which are present in the villages should have easily available, and that shows a well fertility, and also it is assured for irrigation facilities, because of they, in case of villages there will be a good source of fresh water, and there will be, and we can conduct the irrigation facilities to produce the fodders, and it is available for animal feeding throughout the year. So next question is, how much land is needed to begin a dairy farming business? So normally it mainly depends on the scale of dairy farm. For a small scale farm, it having 10 cows, it requires around 1 to 2 acres. And for medium to large scale of having 50 to 100 cows requires 5 to 10 hours. 10 acres. So the next point coming to set up a dairy unit is choice of dairy animal. So the choice of dairy animal mainly depends on the breeds. So the breeds, the factors influencing the breed are mainly milk yield. So the animal should give the higher milk yield, and then feed efficiency. The feed efficiency is nothing but the body weight gain per unit of feed consumed, and also the adaptability to the local conditions. Normally, the indigenous cow, those animals will adapt better than the crossbreed or exotic breeds. So some of the India's most popular and the productive dairy cows breeds includes Jassi, Sahiwal, HF, Red Sindhi and Gir. So these are the major breeds of cows which produce higher milk yield. So the major criteria for selecting the breeds means they should provide or they should produce higher milk rate. That means the normally each cow should have the ability to produce 4 to 5 liters of the milk, and they should adapt it for the several climatic conditions. So and also the animal should be adapted to the modern husbandry practices such as calf weaning and then machine milking. And the next one is the number of animals required. So to set up an profitable dairy unit, so the minimum number of the animals required is around 5 to 10. So for minimum, first we should manage the animals with a less number, then only we can build a dairy unit of larger quantity. So next comes to feed and fodder. So the question arises means, how do I ensure the best nutrition for my dairy cows? So the feeding, it plays an important factor, or it is a major component for the production of milk, and it is accounting for 55 to 60% of total cost of milk production. So proper feeding to the animals leads to increase in the milk production, and that cause economic dairying. So the dairy animals which are fed with balanced ratio of the feed and fodder, that means it includes all the nutrients required for the animals, that is energy, proteins, minerals and the vitamins. If we provide those feed or fodder in the right proportion that improve or that nourishes the body of the healthy milk animal and leads to production of higher milk quantity. So the providing a balanced diet with a mix of the green fodder, dry fodder, the concentrates, and also with some mineral supplements is a optimum nutrition for a healthy milk animal. So before giving feed or fodder to the any animal, you can consult a livestock nutritionalist to formulate the appropriate ratios of feed and fodder in a dry matter basis. So next is the equipments and the machineries required to set up an dairy units. Normally, if it is more than 5 animals, the major requirement for the milking is the milking machine. A single person cannot involve in the milking since it is a large number of animals. So, however, the some machinery and the equipments which are essentially required, such as chaff cutter machines. So, rearing of 2 cows or 2 to 3 cows, it can be handled by a single person. If it is more than 5 to 10%, it requires some of the machineries and the equipments like chaff cutter machine, milking pails and milking cans, and some of the minor implements. And on farming maintaining more than milk animals, milking machine can be economical and it is more convenient as compared to hand milking. So, and also installation of fans and the cooling devices. So during summer, what happens? The shed will be provided for the cows, leads to higher increase in the temperature. So to reduce the temperature, the installation of fans and the cooling devices is necessary to protection against heat stress. And also the utility vehicle for the procurement of farm supplies and marketing of produce, besides a tractor with implement for the cultivation of fodder, crops and their harvesting, transportation, chaffing, and then processing, etc. So some of the machineries required in the dairy unit is one is milking equipment of 4 cluster can, and then 1 tractor for transportation, and the 1 trailer or trolley to take a feed or fodder, and the 1 loader for a tractor, and for 1 green fodder chaff cutter with a motor. So chaff cutter is nothing but the normally fodders are in the length of the fodder is very high to cut those. So the chaff cutters will be used. Then feed grinder with a motor and the mist cooling system, milk cans to means to procure the milk and to store the milk, and the generator, the borewell with the motor. These will helps in the water, the necessary what are the water necessities what will be there. There we can use bowels, and then ropes, chains, tagging equipments, the water pipes. These are the general requirements to set up a dairy unit. So the summary of project cost. So normally the farmers which are in the middle class, they can't afford higher amount, so higher capital investment. So those farmers can go for loans. So some of the cooperatives or agricultural cooperative banks will be provided by funds to the farmers to develop a dairy unit. So from that loan we can set up a dairy unit. So the total cost of the project, so it is approximate amount to set up a dairy unit. The total cost of a project requires around 15,27,350 rupees to set up a dairy unit of 10 cows. So the major factors involved in it, the land development and fencing, and then civil construction, it requires around 5 lakhs. And for irrigation and water supplies, so water supply should be necessary for all the practices like washing, cleaning the utensils, for drinking purposes, everything should be from the water supply. So the cost is around 1,10,000. So for the electrification, it is around 70,000, and for plant and machinery it is around 50,000. For the livestock, so based on let us consider if we want 10 number of cows, means the cost of each cow is around 65,000. So then The total cost for 10 animals is 6,50,000. The fodder cultivation, it requires around 12,000. Then insurance is about 48,750 rupees. And then other DPR costs like 3,619. And there will be a miscellaneous expenditures. It will cost around 2,381 rupees. So the total fixed cost is 15 lakh 8,750 rupees with the recurring amount 18,600. So the total cost of project will be around 15 lakh 27,350 rupees. So coming to future perspectives of a dairy farming unit, there will be an increase in the quantity of available milk for processing. Since the population in India is still increasing, the demand for the milk will also increase. So increasing quantity of available milk for processing, and there will be a fast growing economy. And it also leads to diversification with a large market and investment opportunities. And also in case of producers, that means the producers are nothing but farmers. In case of farmers, the income will increase and there will be lifestyle change preferred to the milk and milk products, because we can't only consume milk. So the milk means there will be a conversion of milk into milk products by value additions like dahi, yogurt, probiotics, etc. So from the farm level, we can transport milk into the processing level. Through processing industries, the milk is converted into several milk products. So this is about how to set up a dairy unit in a simple manner. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for a wonderful presentation. I will take up the questions now. The first question is, what are the points to be considered while selecting the right breed of cows?
So, ma'am, right breeds of cows is mainly depend on the quantity of milk it is produced. And another one is the animal is suitable for the climatic condition. Is that means, is it what is this adaptable for the particular climatic conditions? We need to check, and also the feed efficiency. So based on the weight, the feed efficiency will change, ma'am.
Okay. Can you just explain about milking and milk management?
So normally in milking, there are two types. One is hand milking and another one is machine milking. So in case of 2 to 3 cows, we generally go for hand milking. So in hand milking, there are different types of milking. One is complete milking and another one is knuckling method. So in case of hand milking, complete milking is preferable, because in case of knuckling method, what happens, there will be a swallow, because we generally use our fingers during milking, right? So knuckling method, that generally leads to swallowing of udder. So in case of machine milking normally it is works under the vacuum. So if we use the machine milking, generally we maintain the quality of milk. Normally the main thing of using milking machine is to maintain the microbiological qualities. Normally handlers, if we not wash the hands properly, that leads to entry of the microorganisms, that leads to contamination through handlers. So that's why generally we follow machine milking in case of larger number of microorganisms, mainly to maintain the hygiene related to microbiology.
Okay. What is the estimated initial investment required to set up a dairy unit with 10 cows?
So, ma'am, it varies from 10 lakh to 15 lakh. So, if you want to open with the 10 cows, means it vary with 10 to 15 lakhs, ma'am.
Okay. What are the ongoing operational costs, including feed, labor, veterinary care, and utilities?
So the government are providing some of the schemes. So each month they will do a camp for animals by a veterinarians. We can check there. So that is the one of the scheme. So that is free of cost.
Okay.
And
What type?
another
Yeah, yeah.
thing I didn't get. Sorry, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah, you proceed. You complete it.
So that is about the regular checkup of animals. So we need to maintain the healthy, means we need to maintain health of cow animals by regular checkup by visiting the veterinarians, ma'am.
Okay. What type of housing is best suited for cows to ensure their comfort and health?
What type of
Housing, that is
house?
sheds or barns. Housing for the cow, which is best suited.
Normally, the recent the what are the sheds will be there. These are made up of concrete, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
Concrete.
Is that suitable for the cows, ma'am?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Move on to the next question. What are the pros and cons of different breeds of cows?
That means what are the major advantages and
Yeah, yeah,
disadvantages?
yeah.
Okay. Now, when come to exotic breed, that means whatever the cross breeds are there, so that leads to what happens means they should adapt to the some of the climatic conditions. So in case of indigenous cows like a Gir and Sahiwal, they will adapt to our Indian climatic conditions. So not to for other foreign or other countries. So this is the drawback in case of indigenous. So when it comes to crossbreeds, these are very adaptable for the modern technologies. Like I have told you, that is weaning and also milk machine, milking by using machine. And these crossbreeds have the ability to produce higher milk production compared to indigenous. So for indigenous milk, what we call referred as, those are organic milks.
Okay. What veterinary services will be required and how often should cow be checked?
So each month we have to check, because so since it is exposed to several environmental factors, that leads to what entry of several microorganisms, that leads to several diseases like tuberculosis in case of cows. So each and every month, sorry,
Hello, Miss Anushree? Hello? Hello? Miss Anushree, are connected? We lost your audio. Hello, Miss Anushree? Hello? Ma'am, we lost your audio. Miss Anushree,
Ma'am.
you're able to hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. I'm audible.
Okay, you can proceed about the veterinary services we are talking.
Veterinary services.
Yeah. You want me to repeat the question? What veterinary services will be required and how often should cows be checked? Miss Anushree? Hello. Miss Anushree? Hello.
Hello, ma'am. I'm audible
Okay.
now.
Now you are audible. Please proceed with that.
Sorry for the disturbance, ma'am.
That's
I have
okay. That's
some.
okay. No problem. No problem. You cool down. You want me to repeat the question?
Yes, ma'am.
What veterinary services will be required and how often should cows be checked?
So for every month it has to be checked because these cows are very susceptible to the microorganisms since it is majorly exposed to several environmental factors. So it should be checked for some tuberculosis diseases and then brucellosis. So each month we need to check for the health of animals by the help of veterinarians.
Okay. What vaccinations and preventive measures are essential for maintaining herd health? Hello, Miss Anushree? Are you connected? Yeah, please speak up.
Hello, ma'am. Hello,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
ma'am.
what vaccination and preventive measures are essential for maintaining herd health?
Vaccinations for cows.
Yeah. Shall I move on to the next question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How will you handle and isolate sick cows to prevent the spread of diseases?
How to?
How
Hello,
should we
ma'am.
handle and isolate sick cows to prevent the spread of diseases?
So we need to separate, that's we call it as weaning. So we need to separate the animals, diseased animals from whatever the healthy animals are there. We need to separate from that place to the another place. So those diseased animals we need to check regularly for the improvement for their health. So there will be a separate shed for the diseased animals and also healthy milch animals. We should not combine, we should not do that. So we should separate the diseased animals with the healthy animals. So that needs the both separate sheds for both of them.
Okay. What is the best milking schedule for cows to optimize milk yield?
Best
Milking schedule.
milking schedule. That
Yeah.
is what I'm told, the milking machine. So it normally works under vacuum. The milk which is entirely present in the udder. It's a full entire milk which is
Okay.
present
Okay.
in the
No,
udder
no.
that will be
What
sucked by
schedule we
milking.
have to follow in the day?
Time. So for
Time.
in the morning it is 6 a.m. ma'am. It is a very good time for a milking of health animal.
Okay. Uh, what breeding techniques will you use to improve genetic quality and milk production?
Actually, I don't have the idea about
Okay,
the
okay,
genetic
okay.
breeding.
Okay. And how many workers will be needed and what skills should they have?
So normally for 10 cows, 2 workers will enough. They will take care of everything. So since we are using, the only thing that required is milking. So normally milking requires around 30 minutes for each animal. So generally we are using milking machine that reduces the time of workers. So in that time, what they can do other works like cutting of fodder. So proper irrigation facilities for the production of feed and fodder. In that time of milking, they can move for other works now.
Okay. Do we need any insurance for the dairy unit and what type would be more beneficial?
Sorry, ma'am, I don't have the idea
You don't
regarding
have idea
insurance.
about it? Okay,
No,
okay.
ma'am. No.
What waste management and recycling practices can be adapted?
That is, ma'am, that is biogas production from the dung of cows. So there will be an anaerobic digester. So for the anaerobic digester, what we'll do, the dungs of cows will be transferred from the what we call shed. So whatever the waste materials are there, that will transfer to the biogas reactor. That is an anaerobic digester. Inside it, what happens means the bacteria which are present in the dung, that is methanogens, that releases the methane and carbon dioxide. So the methane which acts as a fuel, so we can use it for a household purposes. Not only household, we can use as a fuel for running of engines or motors in case of dairy farms.
Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am. We have now completed the round of questions on behalf of agricultureinformation.com. We'd like to thank Ms. Anushree Y K for the talk and for answering the questions. This meeting will now be closed.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Ah.